Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me except me.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
Maps come with me. No. When do we start?
Here we are, back again. Snowmageddon! We're all gonna be snowed in forever! You like that term?
I do.
Snowmagerd! Did you do your amateur meteorology? Your favorite pastime for some reason?
A little bit. Well, you know, I enjoy things that happen in the air and sky.
No, you really enjoy just keeping up on weather.
Someday, I want to be an astronaut.
They don't keep up on weather.
I'm just saying random things. I'm going to be a firefighter when I grow up.
Should have been a meteorologist.
Probably should have, yes. But then I wouldn't get to be on this show.
You probably could squeeze it in.
Not on the night before Snowmageddon, or...
Yeah, whatever. We're all gonna die, or maybe not. We'll see.
I'm going to guesstimate I'm going to get 19 inches at the house.
So you're going on
snow.
the high end.
Yes, I'm going high end.
All right.
I usually get more up on the hill than you do downtown.
You live 5 miles away from me?
Yeah, but I'm kind of on a slope part of the hill that kind of, I always get more snow up there than, I always get the high end at my house.
Cool. All right.
Yeah,
I guess if we're done with that.
Can't believe was it 12 to 18 inches?
Yeah.
And some snow.
Dear God.
Yeah.
I regret this show. Whatever episode this is, I regret it.
This is my 100th episode.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm taking full control. Woo!
Well, I'm done hearing what you have to say.
Whatever.
I have a thing.
Okay.
Something is coming into the store.
I've seen the hints of this on Twitter involving a famous artist.
Yeah, so...
Famous artiste.
Over the weekend. I don't have it yet. I don't think it's shipped yet, but it'll be in there relatively soon. I won an auction on an item, or more specifically, 28 of an item.
Is it the same item 28 times?
No, it's 28 unique items.
Okay.
So generally, we'll just go through the quick process, especially back in the olden days that you don't have anymore. You'd have a page.
That's why they're the olden days.
Yes, you would have, for comic art, someone would do pencils, and then lettering, and then inks, and then that would go off to the printers, and then you'd have a colorist. But another step within that process is you would get what's referred to as stats or proofs, and within that would be where, like, if something needed to be altered, you could alter it, or it's just a double-checking system, or if production needed to be sped up, like, oh, we need to get these pages done a little bit quicker, you would get stats of them, and they would be pushed off.
Now, is it true that every comic book was colored by hand?
No.
Every individual book?
No.
Same as coloring?
Weird. No.
Oh, okay,
It has nothing to do with anything.
Just spelling that myth.
The answer is no.
Okay.
No, it was done through a color code and done poorly for many years.
Okay, reasonable. Thank you.
But a lot of these pages are referred to as stats.
Okay.
And I purchased for the Jack Kirby written and drawn comic New Gods number 9 every single stat page that were owned by Jack himself. Not coming from a random production company, like from his own private stock. So that's 26 pages of comics, the cover plus a unused cover that was rejected by DC.
Wow.
Jack Kirby art, your low end is going to be $2,500. Your high end, you're dealing with $50,000.
And are these just going to be for display or for sale?
Oh, every bit of it is for sale, and it is going to be affordable. This is going to be, these are like full-sized. Like, this is the size of a comic art page. It's essentially the closest thing you can get to an original Jack Kirby, plus also from his own private stock. Like, not something from a random production house, none of that crap.
Wow.
Stuff that Jack personally owned and had to approve of.
Is there, like, a seal of authenticity?
I will be getting one of them. I'm probably going to have to photocopy it, because I think I'm only getting one versus 28.
Oh, well.
But, you deal with what you got to deal with. So, yeah, this is going to be the closest equivalent that you can get to Jack Kirby original art. And this stuff is going to be, like, when I say relatively affordable, I mean actually affordable. Like, nothing crazy in there.
Oh, wow.
If you want to buy it off me in bulk, hey, you'll get an even better deal. But, yeah, if you...
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. It's unique.
Was that your big February announcement that now it's March and you're making your...
No.
Oh.
Stop it. You know.
You're right. I do know.
Which I've also started.
Oh.
Yeah. But, yeah, this is the closest you're going to get to, like, Jack Kirby originals. And compared to other stat work, this came, like, directly from him. And the other piece that's also coming with this, which is separate, which I'm not quite as excited about, but is still really cool. So all the pages for this issue, I'm also getting that issue that was also from Kirby's private collection.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm going to have all of the pages, not the originals, but the stats, plus that original issue. Every piece of this is going up for sale.
You're not going to keep the original issue for yourself?
No, it's for the store. This was a store purchase. It was
okay.
For this.
Are you going to buy it from the store for yourself?
No.
Oh.
No, this is all intended to be sold, but it's really great stuff. I before I went through the bidding and all that, I was looking at the issue itself. I'm like, there's a lot of good stuff in here. There's maybe 2 pages that aren't super exciting. It has everything. I mean, 2 different covers, splash pages. There's double splash pages. You get a variety of the new gods in there. It's good stuff, and I'm excited to get it in.
What perchance if I'm listening from somewhere other than a reasonable driving distance to Editor's Note Comics, and I think, wow, that sounds badass, and I went in on that. How can I contact you?
I mean, the normal ways.
Reach out and touch somebody?
Yeah. I mean, yes, if you were like, oh, I want one of those, I mean, it's because I've had art shipped and been shipped art, it's like $10 to ship a piece of art.
Oh, because you got to make sure it doesn't fall
Yeah,
over.
it's nothing crazy. I see some people are like...
Fragile.
Yeah, some people will be like, $30 to ship this piece. I'm like, you son of a bitch, it's only 10, I know it.
I, too, am an art dealer. So you're saying you're dabbling in the realm of being an art dealer now?
I mean, I am a little bit as it is, but yeah. So this is
good for you.
This is one of a kind. Well, aside from the originals, but this is unique stuff. And I'm excited to get it in.
How did you really find this in an auction? You just were you eBaying one day and you just kind of came across this?
I follow his grandson on Twitter who's been dabbling in some online stuff and trying to monetize a lot of things. And quite frankly, it wasn't a very catchy listing unless you knew what it was.
Oh, okay.
So I think I got lucky in that regard.
Fair. Do you have these in your possession?
No, I don't think they've even shipped yet.
Oh, okay. So you haven't got your hands on them tangibly and be like, okay, this is actually...
No, I mean, even before I want to sell them, I want to scan all them.
Oh, so you have them for your own personal enjoyment?
Yeah. I mean, that'll be my equivalent of keeping when I just want to scan them and get a file of them.
Do you have a scanner?
No, I'm going to have to deal with that.
I have a scanner, and I'd be willing to allow you to use it.
Don't touch my things!
No, I won't. I'll wear special gloves. We'll set up a clean room.
But yeah, I think that's really cool.
Filtration.
I mean, this is new God stuff. These are one-of-a-kind pieces. And, emphasis on they're going to be affordable. Because Kirby art is...
expensive?
Insanely expensive. And getting this stuff directly, from his estate, I think this is really cool stuff. And again, if you want to buy it in bulk, you can literally own a whole issue of this.
In one lump sum.
It'd be less money, but yeah, I'd still do it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's awfully kind of you to do that.
Well, money now versus spreading out, making it back,
See, that's kind of like, the argument if you win the lottery, you take the lump sum or the annuity.
I guess it depends on what kind of person you are.
I would take the annuity. Because you're still going to get, if you win it big, you're still going to be making, multi-million-dollar a year.
But yeah, I think this is really cool.
You're going to be paying taxes on it like that. I don't know.
These don't exist outside of what I'm going to have. And even I was checking around online. I can't find a lot of stuff. I mean, there are plenty of stat pages out there. You can find some Kirby ones, but not necessarily ones that I can say this is from his estate. It was probably just from a random production house. This is unique stuff. It's exciting. I'm really glad to get it in.
Are you going to take it to Las Vegas and go on Pawn Stars?
No. Well, it's weird to price because this kind of thing doesn't really exist. So I'm going to do my best based off of what information I can find.
Some research on what they should go for, or
I got a tweet.
I see that. Was it important?
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, no, I've had
I don't know if it was breaking news.
No.
Oh.
But yeah, there's that. That's going to be in the store. The expected delivery date said next week, but it also hasn't shipped yet, so we'll see what happens.
Snowmageddon's going to stop it from getting here on time.
It's coming from California.
Oh, well, it's nice in California this time of year.
Yeah, less fires than usual.
Yeah, at least it didn't get burnt up.
Let's say that's something that's coming in. I think that's cool.
Well, look at you.
Maybe you don't. Maybe I just wasted 5 minutes of your time.
Mine?
No, I'm okay wasting your time.
That's fine.
I guess from there, let's do the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
Oh, what a bunch of news there is.
Yeah, I see that. There's a long list.
I'm just going to hit a lot of this in one big solid swath because most of what's happened this week in the world of comic news is Marvel's fresh start announcing creative teams and books that are happening.
Oh, okay.
So let's just dive into it. Some of them were just announced today.
So this is the part of the show where I kind of sit back and let you do your thing.
I know, I'm going to try to find a way to engage you. This is the hard part. This is the hardest part of the show for me.
I'm sorry.
Ta-Nehisi Coates, journalist for The Atlantic and MacArthur Genius Award winner and current Black Panther writer, is going to be taking over Captain America on the 4th of July.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's a great writer.
So is that going to come out for the 4th of July, or he's starting his arc on, like, is he...
It's coming out on the 4th of July.
Okay, so he's already started working on it.
Yeah, but he is a hot commodity and a great writer. And him taking on a character like Captain America, especially like if you read the work that he's done in The Atlantic, and him taking on kind of the most socially conscious Marvel character, it's going to be a very interesting run, and I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Is it Steve Rogers or Bucky?
Steve
Captain?
Rogers.
Because I know there's been multiple captains.
Oh yeah, I mean, most recently Sam Wilson was Captain America for a couple of years.
But this is...
But Steve is back.
Baby.
He is. The Sentry, one of Marvel's answers to Superman. There's a couple of them, also Hyperion. He's getting his own solo series. That is a rarity for that character. It's going to be done by Jeff Lemire, or Lemire. Not quite sure how to pronounce it. I've heard it both ways.
Okay.
I'm going to guess Lemire because it feels wrong to me, so I bet it's the wrong feeling one.
I'm going to go with Lemire. We'll take our chances.
Yeah.
One of us is right.
There we go. Mark Waid. A bunch of Mark Waid news this week for things that he's doing. He's going to be doing a miniseries for Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie that's coming out.
Can't have anything to do with that, possibly.
Amazing Spider-Man. The main Spider-Man title. 10-year scribe Dan Slott is leaving, and he will be replaced by Nick Spencer and art by Ryan Ottley. Nick Spencer recently was doing the Captain America stuff, did Secret Empire.
Hail Hydra.
Yeah, he had a little bit of time off. I mostly think his time off was prepping this new series, would be my guess. But he's a good writer, and I like Ryan Ottley as well, so hey, all for it. Captain Marvel will be getting a new #1 as well, and since there's a Captain Marvel movie coming out, her origin is going to be reinvented within this new title, so if you're interested in the movie coming out, this is probably the book for you.
Yay.
Right. Thanks. Good contribution. Speaking of Mark Waid a few ago, I didn't write these down in a cohesive way.
I see that.
He's also going to be taking over Doctor Strange from Donny Cates, which is too bad because I've really enjoyed that run on Doctor Strange. But Doctor Strange is going to where? Space.
Well, obviously, yes. He's going to go chill with the Watchers.
Why not? He can go to space.
He's going to go hang out with those people on the moon. Who's the guy on the moon that, like, the seer?
Oh my god, this is actually kind of our letter for the week, so we'll get there.
I've been doing a good job of, like, stumbling onto the letter recently. Kind of proud of myself, actually.
Dan Slott, soon to be previous Amazing Spider-Man writer, is taking over Iron Man, which we've said in the past. But he has called this new series a mix between Rick and Morty and Black Mirror.
How does that make you feel?
Terrified. I love Rick and Morty. I haven't seen a lot of Black Mirror. I've seen a little of it. What a weird, terrifying show. I watched the first episode.
Of Black Mirror?
Yeah.
I've seen neither Rick and Morty or Black Mirror.
The first episode of Black Mirror is all about a princess gets kidnapped in England, and for her to be freed, the prime minister has to have sex with a pig on live television. And it becomes more about people's reactions, like, some people are like, it's disgusting, other people are like, he has to do it to save the girl. And then it happens, and it's so weird just watching everyone's reaction. But then it turns, I'm just going to spoil it because this came out a few years ago, that the princess who had been kidnapped, like the guy who had kidnapped her, killed himself and released her before the prime minister had sex with the pig. But he had to, like, take Viagra and did it on live television. It was, like, vomiting all over the place. Netflix, baby!
I got nothing.
That happened. He had sex with a pig.
I don't know anymore.
So I guess Iron Man is having sex with a pig is the point I'm trying to make.
Don't talk about Pepper that way.
Yeah, so that's Black Mirror. A weird anthology series.
Weird? Is it animated?
No. Rick and Morty is.
I know that.
But that will do it for the Marvel Fresh Start announcements.
What you're telling me is Iron Man's about to get weird.
Yes, that's kind of the roundabout point that I'm trying to make. And I guess there's a lot of episodes about, like, the dangers of technology. And there's, like, one happy one. I haven't seen it, but that's my general understanding.
But isn't Iron Man all technology?
So I guess that's why it's Black Mirror, the, dangers of technology.
That's weird. There are no words.
Sad news that will make you feel like, walking on glass a little bit.
Oh boy.
Stan Lee is currently suffering from pneumonia.
That's not good at his age.
At 95, not overly. It's made him cancel some con appearances. Also, maybe just stop working.
Yeah, what does he get left to prove?
You've put in your time. I think he just enjoys it at this point.
Keeps him busy.
Yeah. But yeah, for the last month he's been suffering from a pneumonia. That has said that he is mostly kicked. He put out a video on TMZ.
Well, that's where I go to break my health news.
Yeah. He didn't sound great.
Well, I mean, I think anybody who's ever had pneumonia doesn't sound great, let alone if you're 95 and having pneumonia.
Yeah, I don't know. It hasn't been a great year for his health. So, walking on eggshells a little bit here, but not looking super.
Well,
95.
Well, hang in there, Stan. Excelsior, baby.
I mean, or don't. At 95, he's lived a life.
It's true. He has lived quite the life.
Yeah. Like, I don't feel like, when it comes time for Stan to punch his ticket, I don't feel like he's going to be like, there's so much I didn't get to do.
Yeah. I want to see how Avengers ends.
That's what I'm living for at this point.
Fair.
Like, keep going. No nuclear war. Come on, guys.
Well, that and Star Wars. Those are the two things that keep me up and get me up every day.
A little bit of TV news. Let's take this as foreboding and probably for the best. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show that now is somehow good.
It comes in cycles, man. I tell you all the time, it's good, then it's not good, and you hate it, but then it gets good again, it draws you back in, it gets really good, and you're all excited, and then it gets bad, and you hate everything.
No, it was real crap for 3 years, and for the last 1.5, it's been good for some reason.
Okay, because it's better.
I don't know why I waited, why I felt the need to watch it for 3 bad seasons.
You were doing so in the hopes of it's going to get better. Just like you...
It eventually did, somehow.
Just like you keep going to like Justice League and Suicide Squad.
Yeah. They're in their 5th season, and the creators said that the finale that they're working on for this season, they are planning for it to act as one of 2 things. It will either work as your season finale, or if it has to, it could work as your series finale, which I think if you're planning for that ahead of time, probably means the writing's on the wall. But
it could be.
You know what? Considering it's good right now, go out on a strong note. Better to burn out than fade away. Or have trouble lighting the match in the first place, smolder your way along, and then become a roaring fire briefly.
Both sound like things I've accomplished when making fire. And anytime I hear someone say it's better to burn out, it's better to fade out, was it better to
burn out than fade away?
Yeah, it always reminds me of that Def Leppard song.
Which one?
Hold on.
Sing it, pray tell.
You know what song I'm talking about.
Which one?
Oh, why can't I think of it? Rise up, gather round, rock to the ground. I can't think of the title of it. I feel shame.
Okay.
Now I'm going to be thinking of it. You keep doing your thing while I think of it.
Oh, good. A little bit of DC Comics news, considering we just spent a bunch of time on Marvel. For the upcoming Flash War series, which looks like it's going to be relatively big, and you should definitely pre-order that if you're interested, it has been teased that Jay Garrick, the original Golden Age Flash, is going to be back, baby. He hasn't been around in a while.
I don't really recall that name. I know Wally and Barry.
He's pre them. He's the original.
Well, yes, I would figure by Golden Age. Because Golden Age came before Silver Age.
Yeah.
I know what's up.
And then, since, we skipped it last week, which I kind of intentionally did.
Okay.
This week, we're gabbing about Bendis again.
Oh, I was wondering where
I chose one of 3 stories.
Our BMB
this
news?
Week. Yeah.
Brian Michael Bendis news with Zach.
Aside from his Superman title that's coming up, he has announced 2 different titles, which are going to be under Jinx World, that are part of his exclusive agreement with DC Comics.
Oh, it's Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages. One of them will reunite him with his collaborator Michael Gaydos from Alias, the Jessica Jones series, for Pearl. I'm just going to read this verbatim.
Okay.
Described as an epic romance set among warring Yakuza factions in present-day San Francisco. Debuting in August, the series centers on Pearl, a tattoo artist and, in quotes, accidental assassin who becomes entangled with her counterpart from another faction. His other book, I'm just going to read the whole thing verbatim.
Go for it.
Bendis will re-team with artist David Mack for Cover, inspired by the true story in which a comics creator is recruited by an intelligence agency to live a double life as a spy. It's kind of the end of it. But yeah, he's going to have his own little imprint going on, so that's neat.
Extra for him.
Yeah, why not? I'll check him out. It's nice having smaller books within the Marvel or DC line, where it's not just all the same stuff over.
How many weeks in a row is that with Bendis news? I
skipped one last week because it was mostly visual stuff.
Oh, okay. So you kind of broke the streak up.
There were 2 other stories with him. I just chose not to do them.
Okay.
I can't talk too much Bendis.
Is that such a thing? Too much Bendis?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy, there is. Well, let me reintroduce you to the mid-2000s at Marvel. Too much Bendis.
Okay. I think I gathered that much when you said, yes, there is, and you told me a thing.
One of the biggies on the comic book front this week, Sandman, a series that we have never talked about. Do you know Neil Gaiman?
It sounds familiar.
That's a big enough name. I would be surprised if you didn't know him. Writer of prose novels, comics, television.
It's really familiar.
I was going to say, has he done movies? Let's just say he's done movies.
Okay.
I can't back that up. I don't have IMDb at my fingertips. But one of his most famous creations is Sandman, generally considered like one of your top 5 comics of all time. Has ended a couple of times, including one relatively recently. But now DC is going to be putting out a Sandman imprint that is going to have 4 different titles. Basically, you have all these different kind of gods and realms and worlds. And it's just, they kind of were like, you know what, there's too much good here not to do a thing. And this is massive. If you're a comic fan, you know Sandman, and doing a Sandman imprint is going to be a big deal. I don't know how else to spin off of that. It's just going to be good, hopefully.
Okay. Well, I'm excited for you.
Let's talk movie news so you can talk again.
Thank you. Make the podcast great again.
Punch you in the tit.
Wow. That's really violent.
Avengers Infinity War has been moved up 1 week.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah. Boy, aren't we lucky as consumers? We're getting it a whole week early.
That's 7 less days I gotta wait.
This definitely isn't a power play.
The 800-pound gorilla is going to sit on whatever park bench it wants.
Oh, it's not a gorilla. It's a big old swinging thing. I didn't feel like bleeping with it. Yeah, it ain't a gorilla.
Wow.
With Avengers Infinity War, every other movie studio basically gave them a wide berth of nothing is touching this movie when it comes out. So we'll have nothing else come out around it. So Marvel's like, oh good, we have a nice safety net of profit. You know what we want?
More profit.
1 more week. 1 more week. And they pushed it forward, and this is definitely their plan all along, which is insane because consistently since there's 1 year they skipped it, but Marvel has always had a movie since 2008 where they came out the first weekend of May, so everyone could plan around that. They're like, hey, guess what? Our biggest one yet, different weekend.
We're going to come out in April.
Yeah, so that is screwing up every other studio. This isn't like a altruistic move of we're all done and we're going to get it out early for all of our fans. Or because normally Marvel movies come out earlier in other regions. It's not we want to make sure the Americans don't have things spoiled. No, that ain't it. Marvel is just slapping it on the table and going, look at how big it is.
Swoop!
Yeah. Which has also caused Rampage to move up a week. They're we need a little bit more time.
Run!
We don't know how this video game movie's going to work. We got to try and get as much as we can. And everything it's going up against in its new weekend, it will crush, so it's fine.
Poor The Rock. Poor friend of the show, Dwayne Johnson.
Yes, because his other movie, Skyscraper, is now going to be competing with Avengers Infinity War, which is going to get crushed. Crushed more than his amputated leg in that movie.
Oh, too soon.
Fictional character.
Not soon enough.
News has come out about Captain Marvel. According to the screenwriter, the movie is going to be more of an action comedy, which my response is, isn't that basically every Marvel movie?
Deadpool.
Well, that's more of a Fox movie, but I mean... Thor, Guardians, a lot of their recent stuff, Spider-Man, you could call those all action comedies, so I'm
They do have some lighter moments in them, yes.
Yeah, so I didn't really take that as okay, cool, that's kind of what we've been doing, though. All of the Iron Man movies. Action comedies.
Especially Iron Man 2. I don't understand your disdain for Iron Man 2.
The general complaints. Mickey Rourke overacts. It's mostly a setup for Avengers. They cut down on some major Iron Man stuff. That's all.
I like it.
It's fine if you like it, doesn't like it. I also don't care for end battle sequences with autonomous creatures. They were all robots. I have no sense of urgency if you're just fighting a bunch of robots. Yeah, cool. They're all just fodder.
Oh, kind of like the Foot Clan.
Yeah, but I do like Sam Rockwell.
Yes.
And then we had a couple of trailers. We had a quick 27 seconds of Luke Cage announcing that it's coming out this summer. But damn it, that was a fun 27 seconds.
It was.
They really just threw it all out there. I'm all right, looking forward to it.
Full on breaking the fourth wall, too.
I'm curious what that's going to be, because I imagine that's part of the season.
That he kind of breaks the fourth wall?
Whatever he's doing, or he's yelling at the camera. He's I'm Luke Cage, you can't do crap to me.
No, you really can't, can you?
I think it looks good. I mean, for what little we saw, I enjoyed Luke Cage. I wasn't doing backflips over it, but I enjoyed it. But what they showed looked like they're going a little bit bigger and get maybe potentially more of a budget in there. At least they're putting more effort on effects more than just he walks into a building, then he gets shot, a bunch of squibs explode, he looks down disapprovingly because he knows that he can't be hurt and just throws them all through walls. That got a little old.
Maybe there's some Iron Fist in it.
There is.
Yay, Iron Fist!
Boo. And then we got the out of nowhere, surprisingly good looking Lost in Space trailer for Netflix, because Lost in Space is back, baby.
I like that. I'm
If
excited.
Joey Tribbiani couldn't save it with Gary Oldman,
No, that wasn't going to happen.
that was a movie.
Yeah, danger movie or danger. No, I like it. I think Lost in Space is better done as a serial, and I like it. It's accessible on Netflix. It's a platform that most people already engage in.
And they're throwing money at that. That show looks expensive.
Not only they throw money at it, but I think it's going to hit on kind of that re-wave of sci-fi, especially with Star Trek Discovery doing so well, but it's so hard for people to get to being on the CBS streaming service. So
Give someone they can get. And, some of us, our parents got to the end of a name book, felt a little bit lazy and said, oh, hey, I recognize that name from a TV show that we enjoyed.
I was named after a TV character.
I wasn't named after one. It was more of, I recognize that name from a show. That's not usually a common name. So glad that I was partially named after a pedophile.
Wow.
Dr. Zachary Smith went off with that boy a lot.
That's not... You're reading into things.
Not that hard.
Anyway, moving on. Beyond that, I was also named for a TV character, so there.
I know you wanted to say that. What's yours?
It was Jared from The Big Valley.
What the hell is the Big Valley?
It was like one of those old serial westerns like Bonanza.
Oh boy, Bonanza.
Yeah. I watched Bonanza growing up.
I'm relatively aware of Bonanza, but no more than a passing knowledge.
No, because growing up, we didn't have cable, so we had like 3 channels, and one of them was Channel 23. Fox 20 was now Fox 23, but it was
It was 51 back in the day. Easy
Fox
does it.
51. It was like 51.
Remember your channels.
Remember your childhood. Know your worth. But no, Bonanza would be on a bunch.
I do not remember that being on Fox.
It wasn't on Fox. It was like the other. What was 23 was back before it became a Fox station.
Anywho, that has nothing to do with anything. Lost in Space looks weirdly good.
It does. The visuals look stunning. They look crisp and clean, and looks like legitimate special effects.
If I had more than 5 minutes in my day, I'd watch it, but I won't.
You may get sucked into it at some point.
I doubt I'll have time, but we'll see. It has potential.
It does.
It might grab me. It won't, but it will try.
Of course, they had to drop the classic Danger Will Robinson line in there.
Because Danger Will Robinson. Danger, there's a pedophile around you.
Well, that robot didn't do anything to stop. Do you think that robot is like a distant relation of Polly's robot?
Ew. That robot that had sex with Polly, definitely.
Danger, Polly, danger.
But I guess that'll do it for the news. Let's move on to Jared's sports reports.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. Bare-chested. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
It's time for another Jared Sports Report.
Well, in the sports reports, the NFL Combine happened over the weekend. That was exciting. There was a guy with one hand who did really well on the bench press. They do 225. I can't remember what the top rep number was. The Combine record is 49 reps of 225 on the bench press.
That's pretty brutal.
49 consecutive reps.
Oh, no, I understood. That's pretty brutal.
Couple of guys turned heads this weekend. There was a linebacker whose name escapes me at the moment, ran the fastest time by a linebacker at the Combine in the 40, a 4.3, just under 4.4, which is tremendous speed for a linebacker. Let's see, other news. The Celtics are rolling. Spring training is underway. The Patriots are not going to have a defensive coordinator next year, but Brian Flores, the linebacker coach, will call the defensive plays. So pretty much means that Bill Belichick is probably going to be the defensive coordinator. It's kind of interesting to see that happening. He's kind of going into taking that role, but he's going to hand off the play calling duties on that end of it. That's about it.
All right. That's sports reports.
Yeah, a quick rundown.
I don't know. Nothing's happening right now.
No, it's kind of the, NBA and NHL are in cruise control and baseball's just starting up. So there's not a whole lot. The draft is coming. Oh, the NCAA tournament is right around the corner. March Madness. Are we going to do the brackets again?
I don't know. I guess I didn't set those up.
Well, no, we've got time. You've got time.
I guess from there we'll move on. Oh, good. You dressed appropriately for this. Were you waiting for that?
I was.
How long ago did you put that shirt on?
When I left my house.
So this morning?
No, when I left my house for a second time.
Okay. You've been planning. We're doing a Jared's Reading Corner going all the way back to June 1938 with Action Comics number 1.
Number one.
It's Jared's Reading Corner.
Before you do the thing that you do, quick history. So, Action Comics number 1, for those who are unfamiliar, and you probably are, this is the very first superhero comic of all time, featuring greatest superhero of all time, Superman.
Real creative naming there.
Hey, when you're number one, you can do that. Created by two teenagers, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. They sold the idea to National Comics, at that point not DC, in 1938. They were paid $10 a page for the entire idea. And I'm not going to go into the entire thing, mostly because I think I could probably build a whole episode around it, and it's going to take more research than I felt like doing, because it's massive. But this was also our first instance in the comic book industry of someone getting screwed over. Or at least in the superhero world. I'm sure someone was screwed before them.
Yeah, well.
With the idea of creator rights. Because basically DC bought the whole package. Like, we're not just buying your strip, we're buying your concept. Which basically meant they were financially screwed for their entire existence, to the point where they were pushed out of the company. They were able to do some stuff like writing as a pseudonym. Medical expenses would come up, you don't have a paying gig other than what you're doing kind of, per diem. They got overall screwed hard. There's a relatively famous story of the two of them watching the Superman musical come to Broadway. I've heard the music, it's total crap, don't bother with it. But of them not being able to...
It's no Hamilton?
Yeah, no. They can't get into the show. They're so poor and so medically unfit that they just have to deal with the joy of watching people go into a show based on their creation from afar. They basically died broke and sad. Since then, their families have gone into long, long legal battles, and they were involved in the legal battles to a point where they never really saw it come to fruition, of their families going to court about who actually owns Superman, and for the most part, the families... I shouldn't say so for the most part. They won some of it in the long run. It's not like when you ever see a Superman comic published, it will say like Superman co-created by Siegel and Schuster with like a special arrangement from the Siegel family. I can't remember which one it says, Siegel or Schuster. But something, they got a bunch of money back, but DC still owns it. But not to the creators. They're dead and didn't get to appreciate any actual money for, creating this entire genre.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, it kind of sucks a lot.
This is a bad beat right there.
It is a rich enough history, and also dealing with getting like creators' rights and stuff. There is more than enough show there to like do a full episode dedicated to that history, which might be an interesting one. I know we did a full Kirby episode, but quite frankly, I've read more on Kirby, so this would involve a little bit of extra reading on my part.
Yes, it would.
Yeah,
There's some good documentaries about Superman out there.
Oh, yeah, there are. I mean, and a lot about these two guys, and just these two teenagers came up with this idea. Originally, they came up with a book called The Reign of the Supermen, which was has ideas from what we see in Superman of like, coming from another planet and like increased powers because of it, but it was a villain, and it was like kind of like bent on world domination, and no one would buy the book. And the way the story goes, I can't remember which one of them did it, but they were so angry. This was in 1933. They were so angry that they couldn't sell the book that they threw all of the original artwork into the fireplace. There's like one piece that survived.
Wow.
That stuff would be worth a fortune. And just out of rage because they couldn't sell it, tossed into a fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
They couldn't, because of the DC deal?
They couldn't sell this one. That was in 1933. Action Comics #1 was in 38. Action Comics #1 is generally considered the most desirable comic of all time. It is the only comic to ever sell for an individual issue over $3 million.
$3.8 million for a comic that was graded 9.
Yeah.
I did a little research on that.
Yeah, out of a scale of 10. Yeah, this is the only book that's ever sold for over $3 million.
That's incredible.
Insane.
And it was with a grade of 9. I wonder what it would sell for like a grade of like 5 or 6. Still a bit of money.
Still over $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would you do if you were like, you randomly came across one? Like, you're like, someone had this and they didn't know what it was? Or
I would try and cheat them and then try and sell it. I also... Just so we're clear, when I buy stuff, I try to be very fair with what I do. But if someone brought me in like $1 million+ book, I'd be like, I don't know, $20, $100.
Wow,
200 max.
Wow,
not really.
You are scrupulous.
This will never happen.
So that's why you're giving a fantasy answer?
Yeah.
If somebody came in and like sold you this, like, I've got this book, can I sell it to you? And you're like, how about this? You don't know what you have on your hands here. I do. We'll split it 50-50.
I've sold stuff on commission. That's happened in the past.
$500,000 is $500,000.
I also had a guy come in the other week who came in, looked at me, and just goes, yeah, you can't afford what I have.
And then left?
Not terribly long after, but yeah.
Wow.
You don't know.
You don't know what I'm capable of.
I have a line of credit, sir.
Maybe he did have Action Comics #1.
I know he rattled off some of the stuff he had. No, I could not afford what he had.
Oh. Why would he try and sell it?
He was like a mile away from here.
Really? From like the location we're at now?
Or actually less, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Some serious cash kicking around this town in
Apparently.
paper form.
Apparently, well, that's what cash is.
Not cryptocurrencies.
Hell no.
Are you in on the Bitcoin?
Absolutely.
No, you're not.
You're damn right I'm not.
Anywho, that's kind of our background.
I have the best currency known to man in my freezer at home right now. Thin Mints.
One more bit of...
I mean, tell me you would... Girl Scout cookies, man,
Don't like them.
You don't like any Girl Scout cookies?
I mean, the peanut butter ones, I guess.
Do you like the Samoas?
What are those?
They're like the caramel delights. They're the like little...
Oh, no, not really.
Wreathy ones.
Nah.
You don't like Thin Mints, do you?
No, they taste like toothpaste.
I don't know you, man. I just when I
There's
thought...
there's a peanut butter one that I like.
There is a peanut butter,
like
yeah.
It's covered in chocolate that has like a peanut butter filling. I like that
Yeah,
one.
those are good. They also came out with a s'mores one this year I haven't tried yet. I kind of feel obligated
I think
to.
Thin Mints taste like toothpaste.
I love Thin Mints.
Like minty toothpaste.
You put them in the freezer, but then you crush them and put them in like yogurt. So good.
Anywho, so Action Comics for many years, I'm not quite sure how many, didn't look it up, don't remember, acted as an anthology series, so the book is only half Superman, half something else. But Superman proved to be popular enough that, that was half the book for its whole run. It's coming up on issue 1000, which is part of the reason why we're covering it today. Going back 999 issues.
Do they still put Superman in Action Comics now?
Yeah, there's Action Comics is kind of the main title, and then there's also a Superman title that happens. And he's in Justice League, but yeah, those are his two mains. Action and Superman.
All right.
Regale!
So we have...
With the reviews.
The original Superman. Yeah. The iconic cover, which is recreated from a page later in the comic, but we kind of we get a quick backstory about Superman. He's bench pressing a chair in a diaper. Good for him. But we don't really get the name of Krypton, and we don't really get...
That's like a distant world explodes, and a rocket is shot off.
Yep, so you've got that part. And you've got the classic, he's faster, he can leap tall buildings. He's faster than a speeding locomotive.
Well, they don't say quite those things. They say them slightly differently. Like, he can leap 1/8 of a mile. Versus, can leap great bounds.
Yeah. But, it was also, he wasn't flying, he was jumping.
Yeah, in the early days. Or he can, instead of, faster than a locomotive, run faster than an express train is the original dialogue.
Yeah, and then nothing less than a bursting shell could penetrate his skin. So apparently he wasn't impermeable to bullets completely. Bursting shells would get him, but regular bullets can't handle him.
In his original description, he is described as a champion of the oppressed.
Yes, that's in fact the name of the first title. Superman, Champion of the Oppressed.
Superman SJW, am I right?
Oh, wow. There it is, right there. You're not wrong. So anyway, Superman drops off this woman outside of the governor's mansion.
If that sounds random, that's
because
only because it is. It cuts from, here's his origin. And also, what I love about this book, they do it multiple times. They try and justify Superman's powers. Does this sound irrational? Well, an ant can pick up 100 times its size, and a grasshopper can leap great bounds. Well, now it's just a man, a grass ant man.
Grassant man?
And then just the next panel is Superman leaping with a woman bound and gagged in his arms.
By the way, his suit changes colors multiple times throughout this first... I understand it's supposed to be shading, but it's anyway, Superman's kind of a jerk in this, to be honest. He's kind of got a little dickishness to him. Because he's busts down he's doing a good thing here in the beginning.
Yeah, he kidnaps a woman, ties her up, gags her.
Well, no, this woman
in the woods.
Apparently is a criminal, so.
Yeah. Apparently a bad enough criminal to get the death sentence.
Yeah. So he bursts open, which in the 30s, it's really interesting that they would go there. But anyway, he bursts down the door and the governor has some sort of
butler. It's a butler.
Butler, whom Superman grabs by the junk to carry upstairs.
Yeah, the butler's the governor is at home. You can never see him. So he's yeah, I can.
And then more disturbingly, the governor slips behind a steel door.
He's locked in a bank vault.
Yeah. The butler goes, you'll have to knock this door down. And Superman's okay, cool, I'll do that. And he's you can't do that. He's well, it was your idea.
He tears it off the hinges, creates a lot of property destruction. Oh, by the way, you're wearing a Superman t-shirt. That's what we never mentioned.
Yes, I am wearing a Superman t-shirt.
And then he's hey, you can't say that, you can't blame me for this property destruction. You told me to do it.
Yeah, and then the butler tries to shoot him.
Ineffectively.
He's really not a good bodyguard for this governor at all.
And Superman basically says, hey, there is a girl who is going to be put to the death penalty. She is innocent. I have the criminal in your front yard, bound and gagged. Here's her confession. Please call off the execution.
Yeah, which, by the way, the Pope apparently is at this execution as well. This cleric in all whites, which doesn't seem like it'd be that way. But anyway, we also get to meet the members of the Daily Star, and Clark is given an assignment.
The Daily what?
Yeah, I know, right? Not the Daily Planet, the Daily Star.
Working under his boss, Editor.
Yeah, no-name guy.
His name is Editor.
But he's given Superman the task of, by Superman, I mean Clark Kent, to find and track Superman and his doings because, it's great news.
And then he's like, I can't find about Superman, no one can. And then he steps out of the office and some random guy with his old-timey phone of you hold one piece up to the air, you're holding another, the mouthpiece in your hand.
Yeah.
Like, hurry, Kent, a phone tip wife beating on 211 Court Ave.
Why is this person phone tipping the wife beating, calling the newspaper and not the police?
So Clark's like, aha, I'm on my way. And then he runs into the wife beating where this woman is on the ground.
This guy has a belt.
He is, his name is Butch, and he is beating her with a belt because, manly names like Butch existed in the 30s. And Superman, showing some lovely sexism, he's like, you're not fighting a woman now, and just throws him through a wall.
Yeah, and then he comes back and tries to stab him. And then Superman tells him, I'm going to give you a lesson you never forget. Just look at that panel.
Yeah.
What kind of lesson is Superman teaching Butch?
I don't know, but Butch's face is right in his crotch as he faints.
Yeah. Well, that's super member there of Superman. But does that not look untoward?
I don't think that's the intention.
No, but I mean, just saying. And then he's putting his shirt on after Superman is getting ready to take the walk of shame after he gets done dealing with Butch. And then somehow he lands a date with Lois. So right away, good for Clark. Landing a date with Lois in the first episode, first edition.
He goes back to the Daily Star. He's like, hey, Lois, want to go out dancing tonight? See?
And she's like,
in my mind.
Well, I guess.
And since we're on our third random story of this issue, also the last, because this story is broken into 3 parts for some reason.
Yeah, Superman's date with Lois doesn't go well. Butch and friends cut in on the dance.
Wait, is this Butch or is the other guy Butch?
Or some guy. No, this is Butch. The other guy was no-name wife beater.
Oh, my mistake.
Sorry to get, yeah. So then you get to the part where Clark is like, well, I guess I gotta kind of play the no-name wussy loser here and allow these people to, go off with Lois who slaps a guy.
Actually, what I really like about this, we're kind of glossing over, Lois and Clark are out dancing for their date, and they're approached by now we know is Butch. He's like, hey, let me cut in here, and Clark having to pretend he's kind of weak. He's like, oh, I don't know, Lois, I'm Jimmy Stewart now.
Yes.
We'll just have to let him dance with you. And Lois is like, F that. And she slaps the guy across the face, and she's like, I don't like you, Clark, because you're a coward. And she leaves. Which I think is very, progressive for 1930s.
It's super progressive.
Lois is like, I'm not having any of this. You're all a bunch of douches. And then she tries to leave.
And they run her off the road and abduct her.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable. This is
kind of
I don't know what they're going to do with her, but there's 3 men who are manhandling her, being like, we'll show her whatever's coming next is
not good for Lois.
Yeah.
But don't worry, because Superman runs down this car, this Packard.
Because what was the terminology?
He's as fast as
He can run faster than an express train.
Well, this car is not an express train. One guy said that Superman was the devil himself, and he picks the car up and throws it into an embankment. Good for him.
But what's really strange about this, so Lois is inside the car. Superman picks it up with one arm, turns it on its side, shakes everyone out of it violently, which I would assume includes Lois, and then smashes it. So I guess Lois is getting hurt here as well.
Also, Superman's a dick to people. He's destroying people's property, the governor's door, this car, and then he gives Butch a wedgie on the power line.
Yeah, why not? And the next day, Lois goes back to work to talk to Editor, saying that she saw Superman last night, and he dismisses her, asking if she saw pink elephants as well.
Oh, well, maybe she was hallucinating on that flapper juice. Oh, that's the 20s.
Oh, my mistake. This is a 4-part story because boy, there's a lot to pack in 17 pages.
Yeah. It's 100 panels. It's just under 100 panels? 91 panels. Or is it 100 panels? Because the panels are numbered.
Yeah. Which you don't see ever.
Yeah.
And Clark is randomly on assignment. Here's a politician.
Well, it's not even his assignment. He was assigned to go, cover a war. And he went elsewhere.
And he overhears a corrupt congressman dealing with some kind of European nation who
It was something about he was trying to embroil somebody in something, and they were going to get away with it because they were going to get involved with it. Because remember, this is all pre-World War II. So tensions across the...
Oh, yeah, they're going to be embroiled with Europe. And the congressman is like, we can't talk about this here. And it turns out Superman is anti-collusion.
Yeah.
So he beats up the senator, runs him across a power line. Again, tries to explain the science of this being like, birds can touch power lines if they're grounded.
But technically, you can't touch two different power lines.
You better not hope that I drop you on these power lines. And the issue just kind of ends. Like, he's like, look, it's the Capitol. Let's pay it a visit. The guy says, don't jump. So Superman jumps, and it just ends. It goes, and that's how Superman begins.
Yeah, pretty much he becomes the...
I don't know what happens. Like, he's just mid-jump. The guy's like...
the most sensational strip character of all time.
What happened? He's in mid-jump. He says he missed, doggone it. So he missed his jump, and then it ends.
Well, that gets
what happened?
Well, you're going to have to read Action Comics, too.
Oh, yeah. I didn't go that far. But yes, Action Comics 2 resolves this plot point.
Well, I mean, that's the point. It's a serial. It's supposed to, like, engage you to read the next...
Anywho. But yeah, that is Action Comics #1. That is the first superhero strip of all time. It's... honestly, it's hard to review. It's interesting to look at.
There's a lot going on, and you have to, like...
They crammed 4 stories into 17 pages.
Yeah, I think that it was interesting and that you kind of, like, get some of the history... But you're also going to get the sense that they're trying to, like, lay the groundwork for multiple story angles here with Superman right out of the gate.
You could never guess reading this, like, what this would become.
That's a good point.
Everything that it explodes out of. Like, it's interesting to read from a historical standpoint. And I've read stuff from these guys a ways down the road that I enjoyed, but I wouldn't say that I enjoyed this. It's not why it's there to be read at this point.
It's the historical value of it.
Yeah, because there was a lot of that, and it's really interesting just from the Superman perspective, like what changed, what was there right from the get-go, how did things evolve, and then just obviously reading like what the very beginning of it is super interesting. So I think it's a lot of fun to look at it historically, but it's not like, you know, the page came to life and it was all that kind of crap, but it's certainly interesting.
I like it. And all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. You definitely get a feel for the fact that it's 80 years old now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this June it'll be 80 years.
Yeah, it's nuts. The sense that this character has been that prolific.
So I wouldn't say it's aged well, but you can sense that, you know, it fits the time. It fits what was kind of going on in America a little bit.
And I can't...
So it was topical.
And it's literally, it's building a format, so I can't fault it for anything, because the groundwork that it lays is undeniable, so great.
How many shows have you ever watched where the pilot was perfect?
Almost none.
That's what this is. It's a pilot for Superman. And it's world building. I think that's the way you have to kind of approach this.
I also like how quickly they like cram it in. Like, you get an idea of who this guy is basically immediately. They don't give you all the story of like Krypton and blah blah blah. They're just like, he's an alien, he came to Earth, he's here to help.
I mean, think how long it takes a TV series to get going with world building. I mean, think about a show like MASH or Star Trek The Next Generation.
We didn't mention that David Ogden Stiers died.
Yes, he did.
You know, everyone was like, I remember him from MASH. I remember him from being Cogsworth. I was like, I remember him from being Martian Manhunter in that unaired Justice League pilot.
Don't pile on the dead, man. Come on. Respect the dead.
I think it's just because the most recent thing I saw him in was that.
But that's how I would equate this. It's classic in that it started something big. But if you go back and you watch the pilot of a TV show, Seinfeld, Cheers, those mainstays, those classic pieces of Americana.
I've never seen the Cheers pilot.
I
don't think I have.
But I mean, think about the pilots.
Yeah, I think it's worth reading. I think it's definitely worth reading to see what laid the groundwork, what was laying the pipe.
I don't know, I'd phrase it that way, but go for it. Like, what about the pilot for The Simpsons? Clunky.
You want to call it the Tracy Ullman stuff, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it's worth reading. I think if you're into history especially, it's a lot of fun. But if you're looking to be like blown away, it's not going to do it.
If you're looking like for sensational Superman, no.
So yeah, I say read it. I think it's definitely worthwhile. So go buy yourself an original first printing, just drop $1 million and you'll be good to go.
If you find it.
That's the only way to read it. It hasn't been reprinted ever.
And it won't ever be.
No. But from there, let's move on to our letters to the editors.
Lot of questions, number one. Damn few answers.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Make it so.
All right, this is the last time I'm answering this question.
Okay.
Because I get asked this all the time. It happened last week. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to use it in the show.
Okay, I'm listening.
What happened to Nick Fury? Because in Marvel Comics for so many years, going back from the 60s up until relatively recently, he was a crusty old David Hasselhoff. And now he's a sleek, abtastic Sam Jackson. What happened to Nick Fury?
His LMD killed him, and we don't know which Nick Fury we really have.
How close you actually got is surprising.
By the way, LMD is life model decoy.
You got super close.
Oh!
So, okay, quick rundown. Marvel Comics, we have, our typical old, crusty World War II vet, white guy, Nick Fury, who's the traditional one. The general explanation given for many years of why he was able to survive from World War II was him and basically anyone else who was an old guy from a bygone era drinks, I forget what they called it. I think they called it, like, the legacy formula, something like that. Basically, they had concoction to make their aging slow down.
Wait a minute, can I guess again?
You're not going to get there.
I think I put it together.
Too convoluted.
So he decides that he's done being Nick Fury and he has this life model decoy, so he does what everyone ever has wanted to do. He's got a clone of himself, so he lets the clone do the work and he just kind of chills with an umbrella drink.
Still kind of close.
Oh, I'm so good at this.
But then, I think it was in 2001, Marvel started a second universe called the Ultimate Universe. Within that universe, they revamped Nick Fury to look exactly like Samuel Jackson, to the point where Samuel Jackson's like, this is just me.
Can I have some money, please?
Yeah, and that's how he ended up getting cast in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, so the cart came before the horse.
Yeah, so then, for your average movie-going people who are coming in, like, if you had just seen, like, oh, Sam Jackson is Nick Fury, and then you go watch you go try and get into Marvel Comics, you're like, who's this, like, old white guy? The general thought process is, well, we need to have one reflect the other. So they introduced a character called Marcus Johnson, who also conveniently lost an eye, who's the illegitimate African-American son of Nick Fury. So he's really Nick Fury Jr. or Marcus Johnson, call it what you will.
Okay.
But that leaves us with two Nick Furies. So what do? Well, we rewrite a lot of history and we chain his ass to the moon.
So regular Nick Fury is on the moon.
Yeah, there was a series a number of years back called Original Sin, where it was revealed that whatever this formula was that they all drank to make them last forever, like the old World War II guys never actually drank it. They were just life model decoys the whole time. And Nick Fury is just super old. And he blew out the Watcher's brains on the moon. And then for his penance at the end of the story, he had to wear a cloak. And they literally chained him to the moon and changed his name to the Unseen. So what happened to Nick Fury? He's chained to the moon and he's really old.
Is he in a spacesuit at least?
No.
So he'd be dead.
He's in the blue part of the moon where there's oxygen.
Oh, sorry.
Jeez, come on.
That's the part you can't see with a telescope, right?
So yeah, because I get asked that question a lot. What happened to Nick Fury? Look, he's chained to the moon.
And they're like, bullshit. You're like, well, actually, yes, he is.
That's the answer.
Stop joshing me, come on.
Chained to the moon, he is now called the Unseen.
It's because he's on the dark side of the moon?
And he has an illegitimate child who looks like Samuel Jackson.
Who now has taken the name Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Okay, makes perfect sense. I was pretty damn close on my guessing.
You weren't terribly far off with the life model decoys.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's what the hell is up with Nick Fury.
Must be some strong chain.
Well, he's sad about it too.
Well, because he's not getting any food or water.
Chained to the moon.
That
Had
sucks.
to take the place of the Watcher.
So he just watches now.
Yeah. Well, he is unseen. And some people don't like it because they're like, I don't like it when the comics acclimate to the movies. The reality is if you can get new readers based on other media,
they're going to go for it.
Yeah, you're going to be better off that way. Tell a good story, but if you have to match one up with the other, whatever, worse things have happened.
It's true, they have.
Especially since sales are down.
Yeah, well, let's not be down. Let's be up. Let's be positive.
I guess, yeah, that's the show for this week.
Where can we find you?
I guess we can find me many places. EditorsNoteComics.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to get the show a whole day early, Patreon.com/EditorsNoteComics. On iTunes, if you could rate, review, and subscribe.
That
all
means
those
you.
things would be helpful.
Yes.
Because, we'd like to make some more cash on this show.
Hey, do you like the show? Then you can get it a day early by subscribing to Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/EditorsNoteComics. And for $1 a month.
$1, you baller.
Yeah, $1 a month. You can get the show a whole day early, and you get the other show, the Buffy Back Issue Bin, a whole week early.
Yeah, well, that's now a monthly thing.
Oh, it's a monthly thing?
Well, it's still going to be a week early once a month, but yeah.
Oh, so yeah, look at that.
Well, I'm all caught up. It's not my fault. It's now I'm milking it.
There you go. Just slide it out.
Listen to the retrospective out this week of why that's happening.
Important listens.
Actually, it's gotten some lovely responses.
And then, of course, also stop by the shop sooner rather than later because the Kirby stats are going to be in.
Yeah, hopefully next week. I hope. I sure hope they are. There's, according to the shipping expectation. But we'll see. Or if you just want to,
stop by the shop.
Talk to me ahead of time about them, then go for it.
Yeah.
I'll figure out their pricing. It's not going to be crazy. Obviously, like, the covers and the double splash page will be more expensive, but not even that pricey. Like, this is going to be the most affordable Kirby art you're ever going to get your hands on.
Exactly.
We'll be back next week at St. Patrick's Day, so we'll have a touch of the Irish and talk about Iron Man being an alcoholic.
We're going to be touched by the Irish, all right. Oh, by the way, I'm on Twitter. At Junior Rich.
And you're on Twitter.
At Junior Rich.
If you want to see a man tweet a sporting event.
Or weather.
Or weather. With your weird hobby.
I do have, well, you know what? I have hobby.
Jared Richmond, junior meteorologist.
That's right.
I'm going to get you a sash and a merit badge.
I'm going to give you a mesoscale discussion like you've never had before.
Oh, boy. Do you want a sash? Do you want a merit badge for meteorology? Cloud. We can do a bunch of meteorology badges for you.
Like a rain badge and
like a cloud counter.
Ooh.
An introduction to wind.
That blows.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. We're doing Demon in a Bottle.
Aye.
You gotta rub me the right way. Okay,
That's
bye.
Genie in a Bottle, you dipshit.